Okay, it says it's recording now. So, okay, you can turn it off until we get ready to start. Thank you.
My name is Michelle Robinson. We will start the podcast interview in approximately 2 minutes. Member of the Epsilon Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. I'm also a Target 4 committee chair member. Welcome and happy Black History Month. I am so excited to present 4 amazing podcasters who have all had Baltimore connections. You are in for a treat this evening as they share their experiences in podcasting. But first, I want to introduce you to some very important people this evening.
Welcome and good evening to you. This is Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Epsilon Omega Chapter, Target 4, the Arts. The program is the rise of the podcast in 2021. I'm sure you will find this very interesting and insightful and entertaining. And so we want you to be ready to answer questions. You can put them into the chat or in the Q&A section, and we will respond to you. Thank you for coming. And now I'd like to introduce you to our president of our chapter.
Good evening, everyone. On this Monday night, I bring you greetings from Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Epsilon Omega chapter, as we celebrate 100 years of dedicated service to the Baltimore community. Sit back, relax, and enjoy our dynamic podcasters. You will enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you. Also want to introduce our Vice President of Programs, Jan Witt Carter. I'm not sure if she's on the call tonight, but she says welcome as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have Dr. Tanya Ringgold. She is the North Atlantic Program Chairman for the entire region for our North Atlantic region. Once again, Target for the Arts, we do focus on middle and high school students bringing awareness to the arts. So we're alluding to the Black arts movement in Harlem Renaissance. So this program tonight will focus under the Black arts movement. And I said it before, we have 4 amazing podcasters in this area. I am Michelle Robinson. I will be moderating this evening. If you have any questions throughout this entire program, there is a Q&A section at the very bottom. Click that, type your question in, and we'll get to you as soon as possible. Okay? All right.
For your reference, we are recording tonight.
So podcast, what is a podcast? The history of podcasts cannot be uncoupled from the history of the iPod. The first iPod debuted in 2001. And a few years later, in 2004, former MTV VJ Adam Curry and software developer Dave Weiner devised a plan that would enable them to download online radio broadcasts from the internet directly to Apple's revolutionary device. In 2005, there was more conversation and buzz regarding around podcasts. New Oxford American Dictionary named podcast the word of the year in 2005. So therefore, podcasts have been around not too long, but they're very relevant to today's media. My first experience with podcasts would be when I was in college. I remember following a comedian, Kid Furry, many years ago, and I was obsessed with him, and he had a podcast called The Read. That was probably back in 2007, 2008, but as you see the progression of podcasts to our own past First Lady, Michelle Obama, has her own podcast as well. So tonight, these podcasters are following in the footsteps of giants, and I'm excited for you to hear their stories. First, I want to introduce them all. They will all briefly say who they are, about their podcast, for about 2 minutes, and then we'll go into some questions for this evening. First up, Black Bougie Broads featuring Kev. Erica and Kev.
Hi, well, hello. My name is Erica Patrice Belton, and thank you so much, Sora Michelle. I'm on here tonight with my good friend, Kevin Jenkins, and we're from the Black Bougie Broads featuring Kev podcast. Listen, the Black Bougie Broads featuring Kev podcast has a certain demographic. We definitely have a female voice, but we resonate with men as well. We are that podcast when you come home from work or school, you want to relax, pop in your earbuds and listen to us and have a good time. It frees you from the craziness of your day, the politics that we have going on right now, and we need a vacation. So we give you the podcast where you can reminisce about college, because we do come from North Carolina A&T State University, Aggie Pride. Where's Kevin? I can't hear you, Kevin. He is a little shy. He'll kick in about 20 minutes. But but we're Aggies. So we've always had great conversations. We've always just had a really good time. So we are a Black Bougie Broads Feature Kev is a 6-person podcast, and that we cover many different demographics, meaning marriage. Some of them are married, some are single like myself. We have Kevin, he's the only gentleman. So we range from a lot of different, angles to a certain topic. Oh, I think I hear Kevin. Is that you? Are you there, Kev?
Yes, my mic died.
So we always have a really good time. We're giving you the love angle on life. We do cover business here and there, but our niche is definitely love, current topics, things like that. Whatever is hot, we're on it. So that's Black Bougie Broads featuring Kev. Kev, did you want to say anything real quick? Because I'm sorry your mic died.
Yeah, just the humor part. Even right now with the mic dying, that's what I add.
Yes, and he's able to just swing it. So if you just want to come home, relax, or if you're driving home and you need something to listen to have a good time, to get a good laugh in and reminisce about your HBCU days, we are the podcast for you.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, guys. Up next, no Pix After Dark. Aaron?
Hey, good evening, everybody. Good evening. My name is Aaron Dante. I'm the host of No Pix After Dark. No Pix After Dark has been around since 2019. Started off with just me and a couple of friends talking about, Aaron, you have something special to talk about. And what I did was I wanted to dedicate my podcast to my son. And I wanted my son to remember me by something. I wanted him to remember me because audio is going to be here to stay. It's always going to be here. So I was like, you know what? Let's do this podcast. And I originally started with I went to Syracuse University. So a lot of my college friends, I went out to LA, did some taping in Hollywood, did some taping in Miami. It was a beautiful thing. And it's all about capturing community, all about positivity. I never wanted to be boxed in as a podcaster. I didn't want to be labeled as a barbershop podcast because there's too many of us looking like that. And we all sound the same. So I wanted to be unique and different. So the podcast has been rolling. Last year, I won Best of Baltimore for the Baltimore Sun for Best Podcast. I won Best Podcast by Baltimore Magazine. And so we're rolling right now. I have 6 sponsors, 5 more sponsors ready to jump in right now. So things are good. And this is a hobby. This is only a hobby. So I'm so proud to be honored to be at this great junction with all these fabulous podcasters. And I can't wait to collab with you guys in the future. And, and one thing I'm really doing is just promoting community, positivity. And that's what it's all about. Because I can hear negative stuff all day. But I need to hear positive stuff. And after the last 4 years what we had, I needed positivity. And that's what's really been keying in with a lot of people right now. So without further ado, I'll give it back to Ms. Michelle Robinson. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. The next podcasters, Hook or Crook? Silver and Ty?
All right. My name is Tyrese. I am the co-hostess with the mostest of the Hook or Crook podcast. And joining me tonight, I do have my other co-host, Miss Silver Glover. Silver, are you on?
I'm on. I'm here.
All right. So the Hook or Crook podcast, we talk all things Black and all things money. And we got that name Hook or Crook. If anyone's familiar with Nina Simone, one of her interviews, she stated that she wanted to basically, I'll read the quote to you guys. She says, her job is to somehow make them curious enough or persuade them by hook or crook to get more aware of themselves and where they came from and what they are into and what is already there, and to just bring it out. And this is what compels me to compel them, and I will do it by whatever means necessary. So if you're listening, Hook or Crook basically means by whatever means necessary. And we were birthed out of the movement last summer with Black Lives Matter and everything that was going on with the pandemic. And we wanted to figure out how can we make an impact on our community. And one of the ways we felt like we could make an impact is through the financial realm of that. And so what Hook or Crook podcast does is we try to figure out ways, or we do interviews with entrepreneurs, business leaders, personal finance leaders, people like that, to come and teach us about how we can basically get smarter with money. It's about getting smart with your money, planning for the future so that we can have basically that Black economic generational wealth. And I'm going to kick it over to Silver for her piece of it.
Yeah, I mean, just to piggyback off what you said, knowledge is power. So, what we want to do is bring guests on to share their experience with our audience because, we run into situations where people, when you want to learn and you want to mentor, but, sometimes it can be challenging. People want to charge for information where information should be free. So, our platform is there to help everyone. If you want to start a business, if you want to own vending machines, if you want to buy a home, this is what our platform is all about.
Right. So our topics range from anywhere from, like, our last episode we had was about Bitcoin. That was probably one of our biggest episodes, how you can invest in that. We talk about Bitcoin. We bring on experts because we aren't the experts in everything. So we bring on experts. We talk about investing, home ownership, stock market investing, and planning basically a financial future for yourself. So
Right.
we air every Monday. So I know my good friend Erica said that on your way home, listen to her podcast, but we say on your way to work, listen to ours so that you can get that motivational start for the day.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. And the last but not least, the See Plan Do Show, Mr. Gary.
All right. Hey, everybody. First, thank you for having me on. I may look at an amazing group of podcasters already. So thank you for having me on this show. So the name of my show is the See Plan Do Show. My name is Gary O'Neill Jr. I'm a professional life and business coach. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a DJ. I do a lot of stuff. So on our show, we talk about a lot of stuff. So for the most part, I look to provide motivation, inspiration, education, and funny stuff too. So we have a lot of amazing guests that come on the show that are able to provide really, really dope content. I air Tuesday. I drop my episodes at Tuesday right at midnight. So if you're still up, you can check that out. And I love my show. I started my show about 3 years back because I got tired of hearing what I heard on the radio. So I said, hey, you know what? Why not me? And so I started my podcast. Well, I had a radio show. And then we went from there. So again, motivation, inspiration, education. And so when people ask, well, what does See Plan do? What does that mean? It means simply see what you want to do, plan that thing out, and guess what? And just do it. So that is my show. And again, thank you for having me on. I look forward to hearing what the panelists have to say, as well as you in the audience. Hey, you're a part of this too.
Thank you so much. So let's just talk briefly to the podcasters. I'm excited to hear their stories. I told them earlier I've been stalking their pages and their websites to see what they talk about. So kind of go back, what influenced your decision? I know some people mentioned the Black Lives Matter happened, tired of hearing things on the news and radio, but what was the sparking interest of like, hey, let's do a podcast because we're going to be great at this? What was the beginning steps for you guys? And anyone hop in?
Okay, I mean, I'll just jump out there. How did the question again was, how did we get started, correct?
Yeah, how did you get started? What was the spark for you guys?
Yes,
Pandemic,
no problem.
right?
Kevin says the pandemic. Well, we actually started talking about it in 2018. 2018, we started talking about it and we actually started recording 4 of the 6. We actually started recording. And then you know how life just passed you by. You're like, I got to do work. I got to do this. And some were actually scared to start. Let me tell you something. Being scared to start is like one of the worst things you can do for yourself. So once the pandemic hit, a little bit before then, I said, let me grab Kevin and Johnny's. We're all Aggies, like I stated. And when we come together and converse, our conversations were so crazy in our minds. We were like, we should really go ahead and push the podcast. So that's what triggered it for us. Like, such as my line sister Tyree said, look, when the pandemic started, we said, you know what, nothing's going to hold us back. We're going to go ahead and actually release our content as a group. And that's just where it started for us. And when I tell you we are in multiple countries talking the way we do, having a good time, people actually resonate with that. Especially dealing with the pandemic and things like that. So we started we just gave ourselves a push. And if you have an idea, if there's something sitting in your heart and your brain and God gave it to you, how dare you not just say, thank you, Lord, and go ahead and start your business or start your brand. So that's
I feel like the pandemic gave us the opportunity to do it though, because everybody was at home.
That's true.
Everybody you couldn't say you couldn't do it. Everybody was stuck there.
They were.
Everybody had the materials. Everybody had a computer.
Yes. We just had to get microphones. for the whole
it took a
entire
minute.
group.
It took a
But
minute.
being home helped us out, definitely.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, so like I said, we were pretty much the same way. Silver and I, we met each other actually back in 2019. We connected in our space around November of 2019. Silver and I did, and so since then I knew she was a business owner, I was a business owner, and we were two business owners. And then, like I said, me personally, I listened to podcasts for probably the last 3 or 4 years, almost every single day, and I probably listened to anywhere from about 15 to 20 like a week, and then I dibble and dab into some other ones that I want to get familiar with. But I just kept saying to myself every morning, I would wake up and I'm putting on a podcast while I'm getting dressed or getting ready for work, and I'm saying to myself, I can do this, it's something I can do. But I didn't really I guess take the opportunity to do so until the pandemic hit, and it gave me the time to actually do it. And so if you're sitting at home working from home, so to speak, and you're kind of twiddling your thumbs and you're a creative person. I feel like I'm a creative person. I'm like, okay, here's my opportunity to kind of like do that. So I called up Silver and I said, I gave her my idea, and she's like, oh, that's nice. And I was like, okay, yeah, so you're gonna be like my co-host.
Because I was like, I'm gonna help you find a co-host, and then she was like, no, you're gonna be the co-host, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Right. And so we just took it from there and ran with it. And thankfully, she's let me, kind of boss her around a little bit, is what she says. But she, ever since then, we've been hitting the ground running. So that's kind of how we got started in that.
Awesome. Anyone else care to share?
All right. Well, I was tired. Like I said, with the spark was, I remember driving home one day, and I remember just listening to the radio like, man, this is crap. And I got tired of hearing that. I got tired of hearing just meaningless stuff that wasn't helping people. And so as a life coach, if I know what I don't want to hear, then that means I know what I do want to hear. So I always like to flip that around. So once I just said to myself, instead of saying someone, I always say I. So I said someone, and I said, well, I should start a podcast. And I said, what's the name of the podcast? I already knew the name because Seed Plan Do is not just, that's the show, but I always have been using Seed Plan Do. So I can't be a person that says, hey, see what you want to do, plan it out, and then do it, and then not do it. So once I thought about the show, I had an opportunity to be on an internet radio station. So I was there for a couple of seasons. And then I just said, you know what? I think that the best move for me is to move and to transition into a podcast. And I've been doing it ever since. I think this is actually tomorrow ends season 3. And I've done 68 episodes. And it's been a really, really awesome and amazing ride.
Awesome. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
All right. So what background training did you have prior to starting your podcast? Did you know how to begin one?
Oh, I just like to talk. That's just me. I mean, I just like to talk, and I always like to talk about generational wealth and how we as a community can do that. If anyone knows me, I'm always talking about, I hate to say it because I don't want it to sound like materialistic, but I'm talking about ways that we can earn money. And so that's just my thing. So a lot of the podcasts that I listen to were always centered around trying to find different ways to maximize, building wealth and not necessarily being rich, but being a wealthy person. And that's all around from health to finances to just your family and things like that. So I just like to talk, as you can see, and that's my background.
It's the perfect segment. The question we have is, how do you make money, profit from podcasts?
I can jump in with that. That's the easy one. It's all about you at the end of the day. I learned at a real quick juncture, a year into doing my podcast, that I went to a marketer and they were like, your graphics are terrible. Your stuff looks horrible on the internet. And I said, okay, what's going on? Everybody wants to listen to me. I'm the product. So basically, I connected with a lot of people and I went after business owners. I said, listen, if I go to this coffee shop every day of the week, I better know the owner. If I go to this restaurant twice a week, I better know the owner. because you spend your hard-earned money there, and that's one thing that people gotta understand. If you spend your hard-earned money there, they're gonna know who you are. And then I hustled it and said, you know what? You gonna come on my show. Put him on the show, got him more exposure. That's a 45-minute advertising for him. And then I said, okay. And with me, what happened was with the money. So go into the money situation. A lot of people had heard it in my community where I live. A lot of people were really backed me and were like, we really like what you're doing. I had a predominantly white female group that does arts and crafts that's really big in Baltimore City. They approached me and said, hey, we have money. Do you want to make money? And I wasn't going to start until this year, actually. But I said, hey, I ain't going to pass up a couple dollars. That's crazy. So I already had a plan laid out. I had the work plan. I had all the advertising plan, all the money, everything ready to go. Got it done. You can offer different type of packages. You know, you can do a 3-month package. You can do a month-to-month package. There's so many things you can do. You can lock it in for a whole year if you really just feel comfortable with that. A lot of people ask, what's your metrics? How many downloads you get? How many streams you get? You know, at the end of the day, you can tell them whatever you want to tell them, but you know what you have. A lot of people won't even talk to you if you don't have 1,000 downloads a month, okay? Even 2,000 downloads a month, they won't even talk to you. So I know going into it, just having that, if you don't have 2,000 people following you, they won't even talk to you. So there's a lot of metrics behind it. But I was fortunate that was one group gave me money right away. And it was a domino effect because other businesses heard. We want to be a part of it. And when they heard my voice talking over there about their business, boom, it just came boom, boom, boom. So now, like I said, I had 6, and it's like money coming in, but now it's a whole business side of it. I'm doing more business now than the podcast because you got like, all right, where do I place this advertiser? Where do they want it? And now you got big name companies coming in talking to me like, hey, we want to lock you up for 3 months, just us. So then what happens to other people who got money who want to give it to you? So you got to pick and choose. But luckily for me, you got to be, what I tell people, it's a pandemic, but you still have to be out in the streets. If you really want to make money, you got to go out there and talk to people.
That's true.
Money does not stop. You know, people got to realize that. You're not going to be a millionaire tomorrow for podcasting. Joe Rogan's is a once in a lifetime person. If you've ever heard of him, the guy, what's his name? They just signed a deal. Y'all know for Joe
Budden.
Joe Budden. Anomaly.
Yep, Joe Budden.
Again, he's an anomaly too. So that's the people. That's not real life.
Yeah.
That's not real life. That's not how podcasters make. Indies do not get credit unless you have certain people look at matrix, and like numbers. That's all they look at. So you got to have numbers before you even come to the table. That helps to answer the question.
All right, and guess what? Bring it in. We're gonna help you out here tonight. So first, let me give you some stats. So that way you know how you can make money from this, because you can make money from this. See, Aaron and I, we own a media company together. And so look at what Aaron has on his head. He has on a hat. First thing is the biggest way you can make money is by selling sponsorship packages. So the difference between being on Facebook or, those places, you need to have your stuff on Instagram, stuff like that. But you can sell ad space. So for my show, I have 3 ad space slots in the beginning, in the middle, and for the most part, it's a different segment that I do. So you can sell that little space. So if you know one of your family or friends, they have a business, so then guess what? Reach out to them and say, hey, would you like to buy this ad space? We go from there. That's 54%. So I had the stats right here. I always keep them so that way I let people know what's up. So that's mainly how you can make money, right? Also, having premium content. I'm on Patreon. So the stuff that I talk about, I'm lit on the show anyway. And then you know what? Maybe I don't talk about movies and stuff like that. I'm going to talk about them on Patreon. All right. Not OnlyFans, because not yet. If it gets to that, I might have to, but no. But being on Patreon, having that exclusive content, people pay for that. I have people who pay for my exclusive content on Patreon. And guess what? It's just a matter of what they get. So they get like a discount on merch. That's going to be the next thing. And then, hey, I give them the show earlier. That's it. Merch. So I don't know if you can see that right here, but I got my shirt on. This is a C.B shirt that you can buy straight from the website. You see Aaron has the drip. He got the his No Pix After Dark hat on. All right. Having merch. If people, go ahead.
So I just, because we have a company together. So merch, I sold 75 t-shirts in 3 hours. Then I sold another 125 shirts in 3 days. Hoodies at $50 a pop, sold 75 of that in one day. Then you sold. Then this. I'm not doing no. What's that? Fly, whatever. I got a merch from Georgia. Flew it to my house. 2 days later, I shipped it out myself. I cut all the cost out. Merch. That's what you need. You need people wearing your stuff all around the street. Okay. People don't know who. Just because you have your small network doesn't mean anything. And then
can I hop right in real quick? I'm sorry.
Double
I'm
dutch
sorry.
in. Double to get in
I
there.
think so what Gary and Aaron, what they're saying is absolutely 100% correct, right? And as far as merch goes, as y'all can see, myself and Silver, we have all our merch today. We just soft launched it today. But here's another thing you have to, especially when you want to get into podcasting, you have to like doing what you do. Because just like you said, you're going to have people coming, or you might even solicit yourself for advertisers to advertise in your show. But if you don't have a show to advertise on,
Come on.
then you don't get that money. So you gotta
Agreed.
like doing what you do. You have to be consistent in doing what you do. And I think that's probably the baseline when it comes to making money with the podcast. And you have to be patient, because it's not gonna be, oh, I got this, this hot podcast with this banging name on it that might spark someone's interest, and then someone listens. A lot of times people barely get through the podcast. You might get 2-3 minutes of their time, and so you got to ask yourself in that first 2-3, maybe 5 minutes, what am I putting out there to keep these people on? So you got to like what you do, hone your craft in that, right? And then once you go from there and you start building your brand or start building your followers, stuff like that, then you think about, okay, can I bring in advertisers? Can I start, with the merchandise? Do people actually like listening to me? Are they listening to the whole show? Or are they listening only 5 minutes? Things like that.
Absolutely. Tyrese brings it. Definitely Tyrese and Aaron bring it on home with that. It really does start with you, because you got to think right now, if you started a podcast, if you're looking to start a podcast, the first round of people who are going to listen to your podcast is people who know you.
Right.
That's it. So you're going to be catering to your family, your friends. Those people are going to be like, oh man, you got a podcast. It's great. I'm going to check it out. Then that's when you start building it and growing it. But if you're looking at this like an ATM, that's not going to work. Because the first people who are going to buy your merch is going to be your family and friends. So I celebrated the first time I sold a shirt, because I sold a shirt on the show. And then the first time that somebody I did not know bought a shirt. Then I was like, okay, I'm lit now. This is it. I'm out here. Right?
Nice.
I'm out here. Mama, I made it. So, but it does go back to you. You are the product. So you can't say, oh, I don't feel like it. Oh, I'm going to do this. Like, no, then why the hell would anybody want to listen to your show? Why would all of us have to compete, not only with people that's doing, for the most part, the same stuff that we're doing. There's plenty of motivational podcasts, right? There's plenty of business podcasts, but what are you bringing to the table that, like Tyrese said, to keep everybody invested, right? So then you do that. Then when people like your show, you see people, you're honoring them. Like Aaron will post everybody who I bought a hoodie from, right? So he will post everybody who buys stuff, saying that builds people that like your show. They want to be on your show. They want to be invested. I have a lot of great episodes. So it does start with you though. You have to be consistent. And I know we'll talk about that later on, but it does start with you. That's how you make money. Being dope.
Okay, another question is,
Being dope.
have you all had the opportunity to partner with other podcasters in your field? And do you have an ideal goal partnership?
I know we have actually partnered with other podcasts, and I also told Silver and Ty that we're coming for them too. We're gonna have to come together, because I know when we get on the mic, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be it's gonna be crazy. But we have actually partnered with another podcast, and her podcast is really, really dope. And I'm about to pull up the name right now, because I'm about to call her by her official name versus her podcast. But she went to South Carolina State, and she has a different, just a little bit of a different vibe than we do. But when we cross market it like that, that gives the opportunity for her people, her fans, to be able to listen to us and vice versa. So I think partnering is one of the most effective things to do. And with Ty and Silver, I think that would be great, because we have such different content. I think it would be really, really dope, because what they're talking about is real, what we need in our community. Go ahead, Kevin. I know if you want to jump in.
Oh, nah, you good. You want it. You want it, man. Go ahead.
Erica has sent us, people to actually interview. We did an interview a couple of weeks ago with an appraiser on home appraisals and that step in and that peace in home ownership and buying a home. So she's definitely right. When you partner with podcasts, I've been on a couple of podcasts, other podcast interviews promoting our show. I plan to get on C Plan Do and No Pix After Dark. Soon.
Okay.
That's
Look at these blessings.
I'm about to inbox you right now.
Yes. Ask about growing your audience. I mean, like
True.
like Gary said, from our first show, I think it was just our family and friends, anybody we can talk to. And then from there, it's just been grown because our family and friends liked it, so they tell other people. And so forth. But when you do that cross podcast, you actually bring it in someone else's audience to share, to learn about you. And so that's how we kind of trying to grow our audience.
Smart.
Gary, you want to talk about what we got going on?
Go ahead, you got it. Go ahead, drop it on them. Drop it on them.
Go ahead, brother. I ain't gonna talk.
All right, so real quick, so I met Aaron because we both utilize this co-working community space, right? So I was teaching CPR. Like I said, I do a lot of other stuff. So I'm teaching CPR. I see him and I'm like, oh, he got a podcast. So I'm still teaching CPR. I'm a little loud. I know the internet is small, but in real life, I'm 6'8". So my voice is loud. So he came running over like, oh, hey, can you tone it down? I'm like, okay. So from there, we've been really cool. And so he has this podcast, I have my podcast. He's been on my show and we talk for the most part every day. So one day he's like, you know what, man, you cannot do this alone. Like you do need to partner up with people. So that's when we came out with Charm City Collective. And so that is a group of podcasts that we encourage, promote, support, different podcasts and alternate media outlets as well. And so we look to do that. And so we support each other at the basic level. Like there's no money involved. We just say, hey, what do you need? How can we support you? Every week, if somebody drop podcasts, you might see it. If Aaron drops a podcast on Monday, yours is on Monday?
Mondays, yep.
Mine is on Tuesday. So on Monday, guess what? I'm gonna promote his on my platforms. On Tuesday, he promotes mine. We all are working together because that's what you need. You need other people outside of you saying that you are dope. Because you're gonna say you're amazing, right? Like, hey, I'm amazing, right? But you need other people to say, hey, man, other people that I may not know, just like Tyrese said, you need to reach other audiences. And so you need to go on that show, cross promote, kill it, and go from there. So let me wrap this up. So when I first started on an internet radio show, the first thing I asked them, it was multiple shows. I said, hey, let's cross promote. Let's come on my show. I'm gonna come on your show. We're gonna do this. Nobody wanted to do it, but they didn't have no numbers at all. And I'm sitting here like, oh, I'm about to leave. Because they didn't even want to work together. So you have to work together, cross promote. Tyrese's about to get an email. Let me text her right now. Right? Because they said Bitcoin, and guess what? I'm already going to do a show about Bitcoin. So
let's do it.
It's great. And why would we not partner together? Or why would we not at least do something with these people in this to make it grow and keep it going?
So I kind of want to piggyback on that. So what challenges have you guys faced as being a podcaster by, starting up and collaborating can be an issue, but what other challenges have you guys faced in this industry?
I think every podcaster is going to find this out. I know these guys was just started 6 months ago. But what happens is when you start off, you have amazing numbers. Your numbers are skyrocketing. But guess what? Just like anything, their business, everything goes up, it must come down, level out. And you level out after 6 or 7 months. And it's a wake-up call because all the people who listened to you in the beginning stop listening. And you're like, what happened? What happened? And it's a slope that goes down. The key is, how do you pick yourself back up? I almost quit my podcast 6 months in because it was like my numbers weren't like that. I wasn't getting I wasn't getting what I thought I was putting into it. And what happened with me was I had a person who listened to my show said, my daughter who's in high school sat in my car and listened to your show. And I was like, wow. That's pretty impactful, just teenagers listening to my show. So I said, okay, let's just rock and roll, keep on doing it, keep on pushing. So you get that type of thing. You have a lot of people who want to be on your show that don't match up with your show. I don't go on certain shows. I'll be straight up with you. I don't go on certain shows. If it doesn't match with me, I don't do it. You got to look at what your values are, what you're looking for. What does it represent who you are? So like I said, everybody, but you're like Ms. Tyrese said, you got to love what you do. Because if you don't like what you do, don't even start. Don't even do it. Because you're going to quit. And then they're going to be like, what happened to that podcast? The most important thing I tell Gary and the Charm City crew, consistency. If you come out every Monday, you better come out every Monday. You can't stop for 2 months and then come back. Because guess what? You lost that crowd. Those people you worked very, very hard to get, they're gone because there's a million podcasts out here. A million. They can listen to anybody. And once you lose them, it's hard to get somebody back. So consistency. If you come out every Monday, come out every Monday. If you come out every Tuesday, come out Tuesday. If you come out once a month, let your audience know that. Because once you go, you're not going to get them back. So that's one of the things I try to preach with every podcaster I talk to. I'm like, what is your game plan? Are you going to be consistent? Are you coming out? Are you advertising? Are you marketing? Are you cross promoting? You got to do all those and you'll be successful. So I hope that answers some of the question.
Sure. Anyone else about difficulties
Sure.
navigating?
Sure. I think for the Bougie Broads podcast, one of the biggest difficulties was it's a 6-person collective, and just trying to make sure that everybody is satisfied at the end of the day was almost it was like impossible. And I'm the type of person that I just want everybody to be happy. And a lot of times most of the time, everybody wasn't happy at the end of the day. And it was really hard for me to deal with that. But, I guess with the more and more we continue to record and continue to release it, started to become I started to get used to it and become a little bit more comfortable with it.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off Kevin, because I know y'all are over here like, dang, is he about to cry? I think his voice just breaking up. But basically, when you have, and I know the other podcasters are like, listen, look, 1 or 2 people, the max. That's all we can do. Definitely having 6 people was definitely not a game because you're dealing with so many different personalities. But one thing that I did learn from that difficulty, because there is a business side of it that was a little difficult, but we took a different route that may be different from others. On the personal route was just making sure that everybody had that momentum, the push to want to do it, the push to want to record every week, or to be able to stay on top of the different platforms and things like that. Because we blew up bigger than what we thought we would have. So it was like, oh, we got to put our hands on this. We got to put our hands on that. So it was definitely just trying to get everybody on the same page to have the same momentum was a task. But on the business side of it, we did invest in having a company to edit our podcast and to push it out. So that took away a lot of the stressors. But now going back, we're actually, I know for me, I'm in like a podcasting class right now to invest in knowing more about what it takes to actually bring a podcast up, it becoming something that you can start getting money back on. And you all touched on it about the merch. I have had more people talk about merch recently in our break than when we were going. Like it would be little things, little zingers we would say, and they would be like, we need more merch. And I'm like, there's only 24 hours in a day. I'm gonna try to figure out how to make this work. So for me, it's more of it's a huge business right now, trying to understand, put things in order. Can I hire some more people to do certain things? So that's what has been maybe one of the biggest challenges for me personally, outside of the personalities.
Miss Erica, hit me up about the merch. I got it.
Don't you worry. Both of y'all gonna get a hit up. Y'all have said enough to me. I'm like,
you're wearing your merch right now.
Listen, Gary.
What's up?
We ain't got no merch. That's what's up. We ain't got none.
That's why we're gonna work.
We're gonna talk about, when I tell you we've been getting asked about merch for at least the last 4 months, and it has hit so hard just recently. So and I'm like, oh my goodness, we have got to get ourselves together. But there are things to come about the brand. So definitely follow us on social media so you can keep up with what that looks like.
So yeah, I think for me, probably just the biggest thing is, just stuff that it comes with every podcast. As Aaron said, it's like over 1 million podcasts, over 1 million. So, listenership and growing to a bigger base. I am very honored and privileged to say that, I see the numbers. My numbers are growing all the time, but you want more. And so, you got to say, hey, how can I reach that? The biggest question is always going to be, okay, well, how can I reach these different markets? What can I do? How can I improve? Stuff like that. So, listenership is just going to be something that, hey, you're going to keep growing. You just got to keep hitting those target audience. Know, as somebody said earlier, just know your niche and to say, hey, you know what? I'm focusing on this. I'm just keep going and keep going. But yeah, that's just something that's always a thing.
right. Any questions from the audience? You want to chime in?
Some positive feedback. I have learned so many great financial tips and info from Hook or Crook podcast. I love you, ladies. That came from Paula Harrell. So I just want you ladies to know you're getting some positive feedback here.
Thank you, Paula.
Someone's asking, how do you overcome podcast fatigue?
Child, do you overcome?
Yeah.
They don't want
Take a break. I clip my episodes at 23 episodes. Like tomorrow is the season finale of season 3. Take a break, man. Like, don't take too long of a break, because as Aaron said, people will be like, "Oh, you have a podcast?" And he'd be like, "Oh, it's been happening for a while." So I say, take a break. Also, do your research, because it could get tiring. And hey, you're on here. Right after this, I'm doing my last episode. So just gotta keep it fresh. Take some time. Review stuff. Let it come. But I mean, you can get a little fatigued, but I would say don't just keep going and going and going and going. Take a break when you can, because guess what? When you have all those episodes, give people who have never seen you before a chance to go back and binge watch your other stuff or binge listen to your stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Here's a question.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, Ty.
No, I was just piggybacking off Gary. Exactly. You didn't take the break. Hook or Crook is in its second season, and that came about because at first, Silver and I were trying to brainstorm, like, should we do seasons or what have you? But once we started hitting the ground running, and once we, and that was in June, July timeframe, once we got up to, October, and then the holidays were starting to come on, and, Silver has her family and I have my family. It's like, hey, this is a lot of work, and so we said, okay, we're going to cap our season, and that'll be season 1. And then we'll come back for the new year. And I think in the new year, that's when a lot of people are looking for something new, something different. Everyone has their New Year's resolutions. And we say we're going to come in hard charging New Year's. But in that time frame, when you take that break, it's about keeping your audiences engaged. And so just like you said, you want to give people time to binge watch your show. So we'll promote or we'll call it a rewind show. We'll promote a show that, maybe didn't get the numbers that we thought, or something like that, or maybe a popular show in that time frame, just to keep our audiences engaged. So that's one of the things. Just take a break. You can do seasons, or you can go, full throttle and go strong. But you're definitely gonna need that break, especially like, I know most of us have, spouses and kids and things of the sort. So
preach.
I wanted to kind of ask, what topics can we expect from your podcast in this year? So I know people are in the season now, but for next season, what can people expect to hear from your individual podcasts? Topics.
I treat my podcast like a business. If it's Valentine's Day, you're getting 2 Valentine's Day shows, okay? You're gonna get that. If it's Black History Month, you're getting Black History Month. When next month is Women's History Month, you're getting that. It's a business. It's retail. I'm gonna give you everything you're thinking about during that time period, and that's what's been so successful. People are like, oh yeah, it's Women's History Month. Oh yeah. That's awesome. I like how he's playing on that. You think of it like that. So right now, I'm planning already for June and July, because I know what happens. It slows down a little bit, and what I want the listeners to understand: the world, when everybody started getting hot in podcasting, the world has stopped. Remember that the world stopped for a little bit from March until almost now. You better be out there putting your best foot forward right now, because once we hit summer, people are back out and about again. I'm telling you that right now. So that's where you're going to lose that audience, and you better gain that audience right now. So I always tell people, I tell my team, tell everybody we work with, put out as much content as you can. Content is king and queen. If you don't have content, people don't want to deal with it. They want to know, how much content do you have out there? I was just on an episode with Visit Baltimore. That's $1 million company. They get all that money from hotels and whatnot. And I'm doing a thing for delegates, for the Maryland, for the Baltimore delegates. Like, we heard about your show through blah, blah, blah. So, again, you got to we like your content. We like what you're talking about. So I always tell people, content is king and queen, but looking forward, you got to plan out. I have, like Ty said, I have 2 kids under 2 years old, and a wife, and a 9-to-5 job. How do I even push out podcasts? What I do is I'm gonna tell her, and this name, this little secret. I'm off. That was off today. I knocked out 5 today. I'm off. Do it today. MLK Day. Guess what? I knocked another 5.
Yeah.
You get your stuff done in ahead of time so you can plan out and sit back and edit. You give yourself time. So therefore the fatigue doesn't really set in because you already have the shows done. All you're going back is editing. So I always plan far enough in advance where I already almost have Women's History Month done. I only got one more episode to do and I'm done. So what stress, that for me, stress is just sitting back, watching, editing my stuff. So again, anybody looking to get in the podcast game, have a game plan. And understand what you're doing. And I like everybody what they're doing. The panel is amazing. I just want to say it's an amazing panel. Again, you're everybody's question out here. So I've been checking everybody out.
Okay, question is, anyone see this as their primary job or primarily as a hobby?
Listen, I'm a whole engineer for the Navy, and trying to do this podcast and having a job, sometimes it can be a lot, but I'm different. I am a pusher. I am like, we're going to, the level of energy I didn't even realize I had towards making things work. I didn't realize how high that was, especially when, your team may be like, like I said, we have some people who are married, who have children. Myself, I'm single. I don't have any kids. So I'm just set up differently because I haven't been blessed to have, the husband and kids yet. So balancing the job, brands, sorority, other things that I do outside, it has been a true balancing act, but it can be done. And what Aaron said was so true. Having your episodes in the bank was, that was huge for us. Cause at first I was like, dang, I don't want to do it, but it's what we had to do. So when we ended our season 1, we literally had like 12 episodes already pre-recorded to drop.
Right.
12. And it almost got confusing. Like, wait a minute, what episode we said we were going to drop? So it was, and what made it even more stressful, even though we had the episodes in the bank, was we were catching so many hot moments from certain episodes that we dropped that we had to reorganize, which episodes would drop. Then we had to actually come back and actually record stuff over because we were so hot off of what we thought would just flow together. So it works. It's definitely a thing to pre-record. It's just that we were not aware that, hey, look, this is so hot. Let's go ahead and change some things up. So what Aaron said was gold, but definitely time management skills is needed, because I would find myself up at 2 a.m. researching, asking questions, networking, trying to just do, highlight some things in the episodes that would work, wouldn't work, cuts. And so it can be a thing.
You got to outsource too. I think Erica said something about getting someone to actually, push out their podcast, edit their podcast. You definitely got to, well, you don't have to, but it may behoove you. Just like Erica said, she works for Navy. I work for the Army, right? And being a single mom, and trying to be a ballet mom, trying to be the piano mom and everything like that, and then you want to go out here and record a podcast, and then you have guests on. That's a lot, right? So sometimes I can't be the editor. Sometimes I can't be the person that's putting together the social media content or anything like that. So you got to take advantage of outsourcing. Would podcasting be a 9-to-5? When podcasting replaces my 9-to-5 income, then it will be a 9-to-5.
Exactly.
Amen.
But it's a hobby that I love. And like I said before, you got to love doing this. I like talking about, investing, generational wealth, money, things like that. I like talking about how we can push the community forward, because everyone knows Black people out here we have a $3 trillion buying power that, as you can see, it's Black History Month, and you go to every single store and everyone's catering to you. And that's not by accident, right? Because they know what the buying power is, and that's something we like to highlight on our show. But yes, once podcasting, and we're working towards that. Listen, I would love to stay here and sit and chit chat all day long and talk about different topics, and record all day and then push them out. But right now we're not there yet. That's something that we're working towards. Like I said, with the 9-to-5, and then I'm also a business owner and property owner and things like that. And it gets a little hectic, but outsourcing, time management, relying on, friends and family to help you out. Sometimes you need a little financial push. All of that comes together for us to make our podcast and put it out to you guys each week.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think that everybody said it. Will this be a primary job for me? Yeah, that's what I want. So I've been submitting my stuff to radio stations because that's what I want. I want to do this full time. We'll get there. I think that as podcasters, you just got to keep working and keep generating content and just going from there. But yeah, hopefully, I know that I am aggressively looking to make this a full time. But for right now, it's not. So I'm gonna keep doing motivational speaking. I'm gonna keep doing CPR classes. I'm gonna keep doing everything else until as everyone said it. And when the money comes in equals that, then yes, then I'll be doing it full time.
And I want to just jump in. I'm doing it. It's a hobby, and now it's starting to become. It's starting to equal out to a part-time job now. It really is with what I got coming in, and I didn't realize it was going to happen that quickly. But again, it takes time. It's 2 years. 2 years in it. And I'm reevaluating things like looking at, I got checks, balances, LLCs. I'm like, we got a lot of stuff going on over here. And I just want people to understand, to the audience, if you haven't ever listened to a podcast, put one on. The reason why I say this is, when I was growing up, I remember the 8-track. Okay? I remember the tape player. Then a CD came by. You can't even get a CD anymore. Every radio station that you guys listen to, guess what? All DJs have podcasts now. Know why? Because people want convenience. They're not going to listen to the radio anymore. How many people listen to the radio anymore? I don't even touch the radio. I will put my iPod, my iPad, or whatever it is and listen to music. So I want people correct. So radio stations are like, we figured it out. We got to do podcasts because people want to listen on their time. So I want to understand how important it's going to be coming up. And we really want a lot of African Americans to join in and understand. Guess what? Y'all saw the tape player leave. We saw the CD left. And I just want, I always tell people, listen, you got to sit down. It's free. It's just like radio. And you can get it anytime you want on demand. You watch on demand. I don't watch live TV. I record everything. With the same thing as a podcast. You can listen to one at your leisure. So that's what I just want to drop a little bit.
Okay, can you tell me about any recommendation you have for microphones or podcast equipment?
All right, I got you. All right, so first there are. All right, the first thing you're gonna need, of course, hopefully you have a laptop. So if you're watching this from a laptop, great. You need to have Wi-Fi connection. You are gonna need to get a quality microphone, right? So, even on this show, you can get an XLR or a what's the other one, Aaron? I got USB. So a USB is one that you just plug and play. I have an XLR right now. That goes into a mixer. So it's a lot of things you need to do, but guess what? First thing is finding a where you're going to host your stuff. Right. So, there's different places like Podbeam or even SoundCloud, different places that you're going to need to host it because you need to be able to generate those accounts because you're going to need an RSS feed. And an RSS feed is when I drop my show on Podbeam, it goes to Apple, it goes to Google, it goes to all these different places that I have so many places that it goes. I don't even know every place that it goes. So hosting site, you're going to need a hosting site, a microphone. I have a Shure microphone. I mean, they don't pay me to say that, but I'm gonna look out for you today. I'm gonna hook you up. So I have a Shure microphone, but just find a microphone that's quality that fits within your budget, right? Like this microphone is up there, right? But my USB mic. Hold on, let me show y'all. Let me show y'all what we're doing here in the studio.
It's like show and tell.
So this is a USB microphone, right? So this is a USB microphone. So this is the one that plugs right in. Bam. But the one I have on, you need to plug it into a mixer. So you need laptop, microphone, hosting site, and editing software. The great thing is that there are a lot of free editing software spots. I use Audacity to edit my stuff. And did I miss anything, guys? I think I got everything, right?
Giving away
I think you pretty much did. He said he uses Audacity. We started off with Audacity. Then we switched over to GarageBand, but there's a host of different editing tools. Your hosting platform. He spoke about Podbean, but there's also Buzzsprout. There's Anchor, which allows you to do free, do it for free. There's a host of them. But I think one thing, and y'all can stop me if I'm wrong, one thing you want to get to, and this is once you are probably settled in, or you can start off this way, is you want to get to a place where you start to funnel people to your brand, to your site. So one thing I will always say is create your own website. Because what happens is when you're on these other platforms and those platforms go down, then you go down. But if you have your own space for who you are, if you're streaming it from your own website and that's up, it only goes down. If it does, and it's up to you to get it back up. A lot of people, even when we're talking about followers on Facebook or Instagram or something like that, we don't control those people. If Instagram goes down, or if Instagram wants to kick us off of their platform, or Twitter or something like that, we lose that space. So you want to funnel your people to your website where you can get their name, their email address, and so that you can, when you release shows, you can email them directly to say, hey, click on this link, listen to the show. So you always want to think about how to get off of, I guess, platforms. And I say that because it's something that Silver and I are striving towards as well. So that if those platforms were to go away, or they were to kick you off because maybe your content isn't conducive with their platform or something like that, you still have a place where you can send your followers so they can still get the information from you, and you can also put out your content.
Preach. And I want to jump on one thing. This is what I told Gary when I first met him. Gary was putting content on Facebook. He was recording live on Facebook. And my first thing I said, and I want to tell the audience this, I don't record on Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg ain't paying my bills. He would never. You need like 100,000 to 200 something thousand people viewing it. You're not going to make money off Facebook. I mean, I'm sorry, unless you're a celebrity. I said, Gary, get off Facebook. Put it on a platform. Get your website up. Like Ty said, get your website. Because you're not making money on Facebook. I'm telling you that right now. Unless you are a celebrity and getting a million hits, you are not making money on Facebook unless you got something like a sponsor or something like that hitting advertising. It's all about money. With podcasting, the bigger you get, it's all about advertising dollars. It's all about how they're going to put you out there in the space. And Facebook is not going to do it. Like Ty said, you got to get your own platform. The number one thing I've dealt with businesses, first thing I ask, let me see your website. It better be tight. Because if it's not tight, and I'll give you a little example. I'm dealing with a company right now, and they already been researching all my pages. But that's how it is. You got to make sure your website's tight. Make sure your Instagram is tight. Make sure all the platforms, because they want to look at you. If they're going to invest in you, they're going to look at every platform you have to understand who you are and who's listening to you. So if you have friends that are on Facebook doing free Facebook Lives, you're making Mark Zuckerberg money. Stop doing that. Stop doing that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was going Facebook Live every week, and then one day I reached out to a company that they do like podcasting interview calls. So I like to ask the guest questions, and I said, "Hey, would you like to be a sponsor of the show, or would you like to do it?" And they was like, "Well, what are your downloads?" And I'm not gonna lie, it sounded really stupid for me to say, "Oh, well, I'm on Facebook." Like, yo, I said, no, I can't do that. But now, one, I wouldn't go back to them, but I know what my numbers are, right? So, but also, that's a great question, Ashley, to ask about the microphone, stuff like that. And so, Aaron and I, we have a podcasting one-on-one workshop. We're gonna drop it in March. So just make sure you follow one of us. So that way you can get what works for you. But yeah, you're definitely gonna need a website because you want this to be professional. And as Ty said, you want to have a call to action. You don't want to just say, "Hey guys, I'm out here." Like, you want somebody to say, "Hey," you want to say, "Hey, this episode dropped." You drop a little clip on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and then you have them go to click the link to your actual episode, wherever it is. Mm-hmm. You don't want them to just, you like if you on Facebook, you giving Mark money. That ain't making you no type of money. So Yeah, but
Okay,
we'll
I
be
just want to
dropping that podcast.
piggyback off the. I just want to say something about the Facebook
Get
because
in
I
here.
know our
Get in
listeners
here.
that ain't here like, hold up, Erica, Kevin. So we are a podcast. We're on all podcast platforms. But what we did to kind of put ourselves out there a little bit more, we started going live on Friday nights to recap the episode, so people could give us their comments and how they felt about it. And then we started using StreamYard, which I love, but I'm wanting to know what Gary and Aaron think about that too. But I love
StreamYard is amazing. I'm on stream.
I love StreamYard,
No,
and
no,
we
but
would stream.
I don't use it.
But he uses Zoom. But guess
So
what? What you did was you're bringing a call to action. You recorded the episode, you have it somewhere, and now you're talking about the episode.
to it.
So now people are like, oh, well, damn, I missed the episode. Let me go back to the episode.
So that's what they would say. Yeah,
Right,
they would be
yeah.
like, they were like, wait a minute, we missed the episode. So when we are, because we're still within our break rebranding and everything.
Okay.
Like I said, you'll have to follow us on social media to figure out when that happens and everything. But when we were going live on Friday nights, it became a thing. Like we all of a sudden we were like, man, we're literally on here every Friday night consistently. And well, yes, thank you. It was a struggle bus. But you know, people, that's when they gave us their comments on the episodes, and it just became a really interactive family vibe. So the more and more we did it, I will say we kind of plateaued in our numbers, but I can even tell you, since we've taken our break and everything like that, there are people that are still running to the podcast, me looking at the numbers. So it did in fact help us to have that social element to our podcast, coming to the listeners and saying, so what did you all think? And it became a thing. So I just wanted to touch on that just a little bitty bit.
That what you're saying should happen. You have to be social. If as a podcast, you could, like, even me right now, even though I've been doing this, I still have to do more videos. I still have to do videos like, hey guys, like a normal, like regular day videos. I don't do them. I'll be like, I'll do YouTube. I'm on, somebody asked about YouTube. I'm on YouTube, but you have to be social because you want the engagement. There's two things. You got engagement and you got influence. Engagement is y'all doing a show and somebody saying, hey, let me check the show out. That's it. That's influence. Engagement happens. Well, I'm sorry, that's engagement. Influence happens then right then and there, they go to your podcast. Now you got them. As opposed to you just have a Facebook thing and it's like, all right, guys, good night. And then that's it. And nobody make money except Mark. And you know, but yes, absolutely. That's great. Right. That's a great move. I love that move.
Mark getting all the coins.
Right.
So everyone, but we're kind of wrapping up a little bit. It's been about a good hour of us talking. How can we find you on social media or your websites? Let us know. And then tell me one of your proudest moments of being a podcaster.
Waiting on that. Oh, well, go
Silver,
ahead.
you go ahead.
Anyone can go.
You know you close out the show every show. Go ahead and tell them how they can
It's too many. So for Hook or Crook podcast, we're on all platforms, iTunes, Spotify, all streaming platforms. You can find us on YouTube. We do video our episodes as well. So we look crazy, but we're fun crazy. So it's Hook or Crook podcast on YouTube, and we're on Twitter and of course on Facebook. You know, I would say that I don't know, Ty can chime in on this, you know, we probably have a couple good moments, but I know recently we are locking in a 3-part series on home buyership. So we are tailoring 3 episodes for first-time home buyers, particularly in the Baltimore area. So we're getting some big-time realtors and mortgage lenders on the show. So and we have VPs coming on the show. So it's kind of like that's what I would say. I don't know.
We're just trying to get to where the money resides, you know.
Up here.
I hear that.
That's it.
You know.
Where the money resides. So
I'm gonna send y'all my advertising package because y'all got too many rich people in there and not get money from them.
Come on.
Listen, I'm willing to sponsor too. I just opened up an insurance agency. So
Go ahead and plug it, Silver.
She about to get this email.
I know you better.
Email sponsored package for me right now.
Who's next?
where's my checkbook?
You know what? You can guess what? You can check me out on all platforms. I'm even on TikTok. I ain't doing the dances yet, but I'm on there. If you just check out Seeplandu, SEEPLANDO show. I'm on all those platforms. I'm on YouTube. So E was asking, hey, what about StreamYard? I love StreamYard. I love StreamYard because, or any one of those platforms, because you stream, once you record, then you save it and it gives you the audio file and the visual file. And then it's very easy to just upload it to YouTube. So I'm on YouTube. I'm on all those platforms. So just check me out. Oh, and the website. Oh, I'm sorry.
The website.
Cplandushow.com. Cplandushow.com. SEEPLANDO show.com. Out here.
You can find me at No Pix After Dark, PIX, afterdark.com. You can see the hat that I'm rocking right now. You can Google me. It'll pop up. I'm on all the platforms, except for I'm on YouTube, but I really don't use YouTube. I saw somebody ask a question about that. YouTube's a whole different game. Like, I mean, that's a whole different podcast. That's a whole different panel discussion.
Yes, it is.
It is.
It really is. It's a whole different game.
It really is.
Somebody asked about realistic amount of downloads. Whatever makes you feel good about what you're doing, that's what it boils down to. Some people get 500 downloads a month. Some people get 10,000 downloads a month. It's all about what you're doing. It doesn't really matter how many downloads to give you a real answer about somebody asked about realistic. I mean, it's all about how much content you're putting out, how much work you're putting in. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day. Somebody asked about negativity. I got a lot of negativity when I won both awards because I'm in, a lot of podcasting is a predominantly white thing. I'm gonna keep it real. And I went against Wes Moore, who if you know Wes Moore from Baltimore is the writer, and WIPR, a whole bunch of different sort of predominantly white podcasters, and they got mad when I won, and they were like, "I can't believe I can't believe you won," and I got messages from that. And it's real because then you're like, I'm sorry, your show sounds like every other white show I've heard. That's just how I look at it. But that's happened. But the most positive thing I would say has happened to me was I did a season called Black to Basics. When George Floyd died, I was in PTSD for myself. I couldn't do an episode. I couldn't do it. I stopped for a whole month. Put the headphones down, the mic down. I'm part of a whole bunch of different Black podcast groups. And they were like, Aaron, we need you to speak up. And I just couldn't say anything because my brain was just done. I couldn't, see it so many times. And I have a very diverse audience. I'm going to keep it real, as diverse as it is. And I said, you know what? Let me think about it. And I decided to do Black to Basics. And I had different people on it, all these Black entrepreneurs, businesses that everybody knows in Baltimore. Dr. K from WAE, she was on Morgan Radio, had her on. But the most impactful one was I did a two-part series with two white male, white female, black female. And we talked about where we all came from and how are we different. The one white girl said, when I grew up, I heard racist jokes all the time. That was normal. So again, that was her reality until she got out of that niche and went to college and learned this wasn't right. And she was only raised around white people. So you learned, and it was a good series because everybody was from Virginia, North Carolina, different places. And they all talked about their experiences growing up. And it really pushed through. And that season, my numbers went skyrocketed because people wanted to hear solutions. They didn't want to hear anger. Because I can go to anybody's podcast and hear anger all day. But I want to hear, I want to hear solutions. So Ty, I'm going to check you out because I need some money advice.
Okay.
You know what? I think for me as a life coach, I always tell people, man, like, don't focus. It's you have performance outcome, and you have this desired outcome, right? It's performance versus the outcome. So some people, like some of my clients, let's say they want to lose weight, right? Like, okay, well, ideally, how much weight do you want to lose? Let's say they want to lose 100. It's not really about losing 100 pounds. It's really about the performance. So just like everybody was saying, are you being consistent? Are you putting in the work? Are you presenting dope content? Are you making innovative? Like, I like hearing, this little happy hour, this happy hour type of situation, like a Facebook rewind. I like that, right? That's innovative. That makes people say, okay, well, damn, I missed the show. Let me go back and listen to it. So I would say focus on the performance, not the outcome. Being consistent, having dope content, being able to use your platform and not be crap. I'm not gonna lie, like, it's a lot of people that's crap. And it's not that it's the content, is just on how they deliver it, like not being ready. Like they sent us these questions, I was already ready. Like it's not like I'm just gonna freestyle it. Like I was like, all right, whatever question they're gonna ask, I already wrote it down. I already know what I'm gonna say. We go from there. So just focus on, am I using my platform appropriately? Am I providing dope content? And am I putting it out there to people so they can get it? It's gonna be at least one download. I'm gonna download it. So you're gonna have at least one download. So there you go.
Yeah.
Black Bougie Broads, how can I find you guys? And a proud moment, please.
You can find us on Instagram, Black Bougie Broads, Facebook, YouTube now. You can find us on all the podcast platforms. I don't know. I'm struggling with my proudest moment. I guess when we were able to host the I guess teen summit with some of the A&T students for our alma mater. That was a proud moment that we were able to do that as a podcast collective together and give some of the freshmen some encouragement. I like that. And all of the milestone moments that we have, all the Buzzsprout emails about the 500 downloads or the 1,000 downloads, all of those are all the small little things. Just give me that little push. So that's for me.
Yes, everything what Kevin said. Yes, you can find us on all podcast platforms. I would definitely say to follow us on social media, because we do have a bit of a shift that's going on with Black Bougie Broads. So you don't want to miss that in regards to where we're going to go. But a proud moment for myself, when I realized we were in other countries, I think for me, that was like, yo, like I even checked today. I said, we made it to Japan, honey. It was like, who is over there listening to us? So I'm like, they really like us. And because we are ourselves, we're authentic, and we give you, our best self. So I was just really, really happy about that because, like I said, we've been going through some very troubling times, and to be able to get on the mic and really just have a good time and take ourselves to a better place mentally and physically is just, it was rewarding for me. And the feedback that I received about the podcast was just completely overwhelming, because I'm all about talking and networking with people. I'm like, so what you think? And they'll be like, listen, I thought you were going to get on there and just act a fool, but y'all really were doing your thing. You did really well. So that's something that will be taking with me, is all of the positive feedback.
Well, thank you guys all for joining us this evening. I appreciate hearing all the tidbits and knowledge. I hope you all are listening about collaborating. And if you have any questions, I see your hand, Aaron. Give me a second. If you have any questions for them, please feel free to find them on social media, email them, DM them. I'm sure they'll find you, sign in the DMs. Yes, Aaron. I think you're on mute.
Okay. I saw somebody say how much advertising packages start. Hit me at nopixafterdark.com. We can work that out.
Okay.
I got packages for a month. I got monthly packages, weekly packages, 3-month packages, and 6-month packages. Whatever you got, we got it for you.
Okay. There is a survey in our chat. If you scroll up to the very, very top, it says survey, and it has Survey Monkey. Please, please, please share your knowledge or your thoughts about the podcast. We plan to do this again in a few months. So if you are a podcaster out there or know of a podcaster that would love this exposure, let us know. We are here to enlighten and help the community. It is Black History Month. I want to celebrate you guys all. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. Target 4 is continuing the Women's History Month next month. We have special guests and family members from Ruby D, Nina Simone, Gwendolyn Brooks, Elizabeth Catlett, Sonia Sanchez, and Faith Ringgold every Tuesday starting on March the 2nd at 7 p.m. There will be a new speaker each night. Here are the contact information from our president, vice president, Target 4 chairman, and myself. And thank you for tonight.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you all.
Oh,
Thanks for having us.
Great. Y'all were awesome.
Thanks for
Thank you.
having us.
And you make us
Thank
want to
you
do
all
this
so
again.
much. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
The podcasters, please make sure you have, I'm sure you have Miss Carol's email address. You will be getting a nice token of appreciation from us for your time and effort. We appreciate all that you've done. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Carol.
Thank you guys for creating this platform. Aaron is definitely an advocate that the Black podcaster's voice is not, really on showcase outside of like these big companies. So thank you for doing this. This was amazing.
I mean, I would tell
Yes, thank you.
what happened. Just a real quick thing. In Baltimore so bad that I was mentoring a person, and
White.
a white person. He only had 5 episodes out, but guess who got the article in Baltimore Style magazine? She did. So what I'm saying is, it's hard out here. So that's why I really want to tell.
Wow.
It's not easy. I got a brother who works at Baltimore Sun. Named, I'm not gonna say his name, but he has front page articles all the time. I said, brother, you podcasting big. He's like, I know. Baltimore Sun not doing it. See what I'm saying? So for us to make a lane, you gotta make a lane. You gotta join with people. Like y'all got like Bad and Bougie, y'all got like a lot of people. That's how you gotta do it. Because if you're going solo, you ain't gonna make it. I'm gonna tell you that right now, because it's not gonna happen. Because Baltimore media doesn't even, Afro don't even want to hear me. I email Baltimore Afro, Baltimore Times. Nobody answers. You would think a Black male went in a you know what I mean?
In Baltimore.
Nobody reached out. So
I think you guys have what the Charm City Collective.
Yeah.
I think it's so crazy. I came across that. I was thinking in my mind, I was like, man, I want to see how we can get, these podcasts in Baltimore. And you remember back in the day before, people started going indie with music and stuff like that, and on the internet, Soulja Boy. But before that, you had record labels, right, that pushed them. So I think, I'm a 90s 90s R&B, hip hop, and everything like that. I'm thinking, Junior Mafia, Boot Camp, Click, stuff like that. Where you can get that collective of podcasters and basically take Baltimore by storm. Start Baltimore, start then DMV, East Coast, West Coast, worldwide.
And that's what's all.
I see what you did there. I like that.
You like that? You like that?
Do we get changed though? Because that's all I need to know. Do I get the rocket chain? That's all I needed.
Mike, you give me the platinum, Mike.
Yep, just give me a no limit soldier training. I'm good. That's it.
He said no limit.
Let's all link up, sir. Let's all link up.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
we're gonna actually do a podcast festival coming up in the winter.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm already getting advertisers lined up for that. So again, you gotta do it together, like you said. You gotta do it together because we can't do it by ourselves. I love meeting everybody. So let's link up, everybody. Link up.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm following y'all on Instagram and everything.
We've been with following you. Been with following you. Wow.
Y'all probably were following the brand. I'm following from my personal page right now.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. We're gonna log off.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Pleasure.
Thank you so much, Soros.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Good to see y'all.
Goodness, I know, right? It's like,
oh anymore.
Miss y'all.
Hit together
yes,
now.
thank y'all so
Y'all
much.
here together. I was like, man, faces that I know.
Lord, I know. It was like, wow.
Yeah,
I'm like, hey girl. What is this?
Listen, this panel discussion was everything tonight. It was more than what I expected. Don't get me wrong, I already know that Alpha Kappa Alpha is always excellent in what they do. Okay, so, but I mean, this was excellent tonight.
Do we still have an audience?
Yes, we do.
A lot of them are sores, but yeah, we're fine.
That's okay. I enjoyed myself.
We'll have to have a follow-up meeting.
I think so. I think this is really good.
Let's do that.
Now we do it again.
Yes, absolutely. The feedback was amazing. So
Yes.
I thank y'all so very much, and I
Thank
hope
you.
y'all have a great night.
Okay.
You too.
Bye.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
I'll keep the survey up. Sir Lloyd,